Hey everybody, this is Zion. I'm the founder of the Triple Threat Artist Quick Tip. That's not right. Hey everybody, this is Zion. I'm the founder of the Triple Threat Artist Online Producer course, and today your quick tip of the week is going to be something a little different. I want to talk real quick about giving feedback to other people that are trying to learn to produce. You know, in my class, we share songs all the time with other students and looking for feedback. And we post a link to a song and say, hey, I'm looking for feedback. This happens a lot. But I want to share some tips on how to give feedback when somebody asks you for it. So you may be in a position where you may be a little more advanced in your production skills, or just have a really good sense of how production is supposed to come together, a good musical taste, and other people come to you for some advice on that. So today I want to give a couple quick tips that really helps that process of giving feedback. Well, it just kind of enhances it, sort of supercharges that process. Number one, my first thing I try to do is I thank the person asking me for feedback for being vulnerable. Just thank them, just saying, thank you so much for posting this and sharing it with me. I know that takes a lot of courage, and I think it's really cool that you did that. That goes a long way. It's very hard for a lot of people, especially newbies that are getting into music production, to show their work. It's scary. I've been trying to learn to paint. You can see the painting I just did. I'm trying to learn to do some clouds right now. And when I share it with other people, it's scary because I'm so new. If I share it with some really experienced artists, they're going to go, oh, interesting. Or I'm afraid they're going to do that. So there's a tendency to not share things. So number one is just thank them and compliment them on being vulnerable. Just right off the bat. Takes one sentence. If you're typing this out, one sentence, boom, done. The next thing to do is, this is where you really want to find out what they are looking for. I call it the ask and listen. So if you have a chance to talk to them in person or write back to them real quick, just say, hey, I'm wondering what your purpose is, what kind of feedback you're looking for. I'm wondering what genre you're going for. If you have other artists that you're trying to make this sound like, or other songs, that I can have an idea of what you're doing. Because what you want to do to give good feedback, you want to get into people's brains. You want to get into their minds so that you know what they're trying to do. They may not have achieved it, but at least you know where they are in missing, how far they are from that mark, in your opinion. Okay, they're asking for your opinion, so you're going to give it to them. And also the intended audience. So is this to be released on an album? Is this for a pitch, a licensing pitch? Is this just for fun? Is this for a kid's field trip? Or, whatever it is, you need to kind of understand what the intent is for this, okay? So I would first ask and then listen. Just because you ask the question doesn't mean you're listening. You need to make sure you listen to what they're saying also, which leads into the next one. So now when you're going to answer, you want to be very authentic in your answer. Okay, I am not about BSing people and telling people they're amazing when they really have a long way to go. You can encourage somebody's value without being a BSer, okay, without being inauthentic. And here's how I do it. First of all, be respectful. Be respectful because they are a human being with struggles and anxieties and fears and determinations and, all kinds of quirks. They may be grandiose in 1 minute and then totally insecure in the next minute. A lot of us go through those things, especially as artists. You want to be respectful. So just be respectful of their feelings and put things into words that is respectful. You may be thinking in your mind, oh my gosh, this absolutely is terrible. It's probably not a good word usage to use for that. Just say, there's some areas that I think that need to be addressed, and I want to tell you what I would do or the areas that I would address. And you want to give your feedback that's constructive. If you just say, hey, this is terrible, I don't know why, well, that's not really helpful to somebody. But if you have an idea of why, or a tool they could use, or a process, or a lesson, or send them over to the Triple Threat Online Producer course at triplethreatartist.com. There's a little plug for you. That actually could be a lot more helpful to them. Or send them a YouTube video and say, hey, this is a YouTube video that's really helped me in this area. Okay, so you're going to take what they have said, hey, these are the areas I want. I'm just really curious if this sounds fresh enough. Does this sound modern? Or maybe they're saying, I don't know about these drums. Are they too punchy? Or is my balance, my tonal balance in my song, is it way off? Is it way too bass heavy or too bright and harsh? What's going on? Maybe that's what they want. Answer their question first. Okay. You may have a lot of other things you have in mind that you want to talk to them about. Don't. Just limit yourself to saying, all right, you're asking about the tonal balance. My opinion is it sounds, slightly bass heavy in this end, or, when I listened to it in my car, it sounded a little harsh for some reason, or the volume was too low. And I'm not really sure why, but that's, you want to answer specifically their question. Those drums just sound really dated. They sound very like 90s drums. And, that would be okay for certain genres, but because of the genre you selected and what you told me your intention is with the song, I want to tell you to go after these drums. Here's a couple songs that I would recommend to listen to. Now you're answering their question. You're being very surgical in how you respond to them, and they're going to get a lot more out of that. They're going to really appreciate your time a lot more. And now you're building a relationship and you're helping somebody. How cool is that? You're actually helping somebody instead of just breaking people down. We live in a world right now where everybody is just crushing each other with insults and slamming each other and putting each other into labels and categories. And let's not do that. Let's not be part of that problem. Let's actually try to build somebody up. And giving feedback is a place of power. You have responsibility that you can help somebody come up in the world a little bit and come and learn something you've learned. So I highly encourage you to use these strategies. And then the last thing is, ask if you have other ideas. You don't have to do this, but if you have other things you want to talk to them about, like, oh my God, those vocals just are terrible, or, way too much reverb, and, whatever it is, you may have other things. But if they didn't ask for that, if they're not, and if they just said, hey, I'm open to everything, you just tell me whatever you think, then go for it. Tell them what you think. But if they didn't ask for that, don't tell them. But you might suggest at the end of your little message, or if you're talking to them, hey, I have other feedback on other areas if you're open to it. I have some thoughts about your vocals. Just leave it at that. And if they want to hear that, now they have the option of saying, oh, he has some really interesting ideas. I'd like to hear those. And now you've really opened them up for even more great information, other areas you can really help them. So I think it's really important to ask people first, hey, I have other ideas on this, and I'd love to share those with you if you want it, but only if you want it. And let them decide whether or not you're going to lay out that information. Okay. Last but not least, I would commend them on being vulnerable. Just thank them again. Thanks for sharing this. That's really cool. I love that you're putting yourself out there. That's a great compliment, and that's an easy compliment to give that's very authentic. Thank you for putting yourself out there. You can almost always say that. I can't think of a scenario in which you can't say that. And that is a compliment to anybody that's on the other end of that. They're like, well, I appreciate you recognize the fact that this was hard to be vulnerable. Okay. And if there's any other tip behind this, my cat is meowing behind me, so I apologize for the weird, I don't know if that's coming through. But if there's any other thing I want to say is try to keep it brief if you can. I know I covered a lot, but you could actually do this in a real brief way. If you do have comments, specific comments, you might lay some of those out and say, hey, I have a lot more thoughts on that kick drum that you wanted help with, but it's going to take up a whole lot more space. Why don't you private message me and I'll let you know, or something like that. If you think it's going to get too long, because sometimes if things are really long, people don't really, even though they ask for your feedback, they're not really going to read it because they're like, this is just too much, and it can overwhelm them. So being brief is really important as well. I hope that helped. I'm going to make a quick download of these steps, and you can download it if you'd like to over on our site. And have a great week. Go make some great music, and I'll talk to you later.